makes the one-timer. Now a shot, score, a goal, and Massachusetts takes the lead.
Hockey season continues here, and we are back on the NewMass Minute, talking all things UMass hockey. My name is Jay Burnham, voice of the Minutemen, alongside my broadcast cohort, Nathan Strauss, on a snow day here in Western Massachusetts. Campus is closed. Nate, I'm coming at you from my house. How you doing? Where you at?
I'm doing good. You can see the hat hair a little bit right now, by the way, for me, and that's because I had to shovel out my car. But I share a driveway, right, with two other people, so it was tough going. Like I don't have a lot of space to actually get the full shovel down. It was rough work,
Are
and
you in
most
a place where you can help? Like, do you help shovel off someone else's car if
oh,
you see it
always,
there? Yeah.
yeah. I'm the only as far as I'm aware, I'm the only person who shovels our entire place. In theory, our landlord is supposed to come
Supposed
by,
to, yeah.
but it's like I have places to be, not today, but in general. So, and honestly, like I was the oldest kid of four, so like I was the first
Out
person who would
there.
have to shovel every shift growing up. So I really don't mind it.
We got a lot to talk about on this episode as UMass is entering a one-game weekend coming up against UConn, where everything is just kind of being magnified with the way of Hockey East's kind of structure this year and how powerful they've been. UMass is 18th in the country. They're 16th in the pairwise, but 5-8-2 in the conference and a chance to make up some ground against UConn this week. So I think, Nate, this feels like maybe the most pivotal stretch of games that Massachusetts has had so far entering the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean every game is so pivotal right now because you're in the stretch run, and every team that you're playing in their remaining 9 games is above you in pairwise. So UNH, who UMass plays in 2 weeks, is basically neck and neck with you. They're at 15th, you're at 16th, but UNH is last in Hockey East. So, you know, UMass right now is battling with a number of teams for that middle ground in Hockey East, but more important is the pairwise. And this big road game against UConn, a UConn team that has been one of the real surprise stories in the country this year, will be huge. And UMass, I think, feels like they owe UConn a bit from the series that they had earlier this year. It'll be the third game between the two, but the first two were, it was the second home series of the year all the way back
Yeah.
in October.
Well, let's start with UConn then, because you mentioned that first series where UMass, I think they should have probably won that first game at home, and it went into overtime. They got the shootout victory, but ultimately couldn't get it done in regulation. And now you go back down to UConn's arena. Look, this is one of the better seasons that UConn has had in quite some time, and so you're going to be the underdog essentially heading into the tight confines of the UConn Huskies.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best season that UConn's ever had, or certainly has the potential to be that way. They obviously lost to UMass in the Hockey East Championship game a few years ago, and that was their high water mark. It's a program that's never made the NCAA tournament, but they are looking likely to do so this year for the first time ever. So, that's big for them. And the game that UMass played down at Toscano earlier this year was one of the few games that Greg Carvel said that he felt like UMass got outplayed. They didn't deserve anything from that game. They also lost Daniel Genshko on the first shift of that game. It was a tough one for a number of reasons. And UConn's a great team. They've been playing really hard. That said, they're coming off an interesting weekend against Providence where they went to a shootout after both teams kind of blew leads in the third period of Friday's game. And then on Saturday, at the XL Center with 12,000 fans there, UConn gave up the first 3 goals of the game, scored the next three, and then gave up the final three. So they've been halted a little bit in the last weekend against a good Providence team that UMass split with earlier this year. And with only the one game on the schedule, and really only one game in the span of 13 days from Sunday through until next Friday, it's a big chance to kind of give it everything that you can. UMass bolstered as well, by the way, with Greg Carvel telling us this week that Cam O'Neill is back and skating as well. Not sure if he'll be in the lineup, but that's another big add without Arsuniev still out.
Yeah, that was some big news. He's been out since that Northeastern game back in the beginning of January, and you're still without Idar Suniev. So you've got to figure out a way. And hey, how do you figure out a way to get some goals? How about a guy that was really at the top of his game a couple of years ago, and Kenny Connors, who's now back into the rhythm of things, and Coach Carve this week saying, look, he's playing with a little more confidence. The puck's starting to go in. That, of course, makes everybody feel good. 5 goals in his last 4 games. In fact, 5 of his 6 goals have come in the last 4 games for UMass. So maybe can't supplement or rather replace what Sunyev was able to do this year, but certainly helping supplement a team that needs some help getting the puck in the back of the net.
Yeah, and I think, luck is contagious to a certain extent, and you also make your own luck. Kenny Connors had been pretty unlucky earlier this year. He had one goal on his first 35 shots of the season, and now in his last 11 shots, he's got 5 goals. And part of that is because the shots have been good, but also like he's a really high quality player, and sometimes you need to get the confidence flowing. And he got those two empty net goals against Alaska 2 weeks ago. Then he comes out and rips two beauties on Friday night to tie the game and then an eventual insurance goal. And that was kind of vintage Kenny Connors because then he got the first goal up at Maine as well. 5 game point streak for him, 5 goals, 2 assists in that time. And really, he has been, a leader on the ice. And not to be outdone, Cole O'Hara in the last 5 games has 6 goals and 4 assists. And Lucas Mercury with 5 goals and 3 assists in that time as well. So the secondary scoring has really clicked. Asked and answered. Greg Carvel wanted that, and Connors and others have really shown up in the last few days.
Cole O'Hara now fourth tied in the NCAA in total points at 37. So he's up there, making his Hobie case. Obviously, a lot of talent at the top of the NCAA points and goals scored, but love to see the fact that he continues to kind of climb those charts and actually stay up there at a high level. I think that's what's impressive for me with O'Hara. He had a great start to the season, but you're seeing him kind of maintain that production throughout the year. Fair to say, yay?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, there have been a couple of moments in the season where he's had blips and has been more peripheral. Before the game against Merrimack where he had his hat trick, Greg Carvel said, he's been a little sleepy. We want to wake him up a little bit. And he responded with a hat trick. So look, he's, tied for third in the country, and the guys who he's trailing, Isaac Howard and Jimmy Snuggerud, are both, first round picks. Aiden Fink, who he's tied with, another Predators draft pick down at Penn State. So he has been productive. He is on pace right now to push for one of the highest point scoring seasons in UMass history. He's the second fastest player to 35 points in UMass history behind Jimmy Marcoux back in 09, 2010. So he's outpacing Bobby Trevino's, Hobie hat trick year from a couple of years ago. So what he's been doing has been pretty remarkable, and long may it continue because he'll certainly be leaned on, I think, in the next couple of weeks, even with Idar potentially coming back in the next couple of weeks too.
Speaking of Bobby Trevino, good segue to the Walter Brown Award. The semifinalists were announced this past week, and UMass will have Jack Musa as a semifinalist for the best American-born player in New England, and that belonged to Trevino. I think he's the only UMass player to win that award, and we'll see if he can have a strong finish to take home some hardware for the Minutemen. But that's certainly an honor for Musa, who we've become accustomed to being a pretty fine player here in Amherst.
Yeah, and Musa has been really good as of late as well. He's also got a 5 game point streak, 2 goals, 8 assists, or right, 2 goals, 6 assists in that time. That top line of Musa, Mercury, and O'Hara has been probably UMass's best line in the calendar year so far. And it's looked really, really good. And he's been great. If you're wondering why Cole O'Hara isn't the nominee, it's because, as you remind us, he's from Richmond Hill, Ontario. So UMass has a good mix of international talent on this team, which is a great thing. But Jack Musa,
it seems to be
gets the
growing too.
nod. Yeah. And it's great for him. It's great for the program. And obviously there are some other guys, the Hudsons and Ryan Leonard who will be in that mix. But UMass has had a really strong presence in the semifinalists, the long list and short list for the Walter Brown Award as of late. Speaking of Walter Brown, by the way, last Friday at Walter Brown Arena, Jillian Jakuba went back and had her club team's jersey retired. And she's now in a giant mural at Wally B, which is really good. And she still made it out, by the way, to do post game media for us here at UMass. So absolutely
take the night off, Jill. Go get your flowers. She came back. She came back to help.
Incapable of submission.
Yeah, I know.
But
well, congratulations to her. I know I saw some good stuff on social media about her and that team being honored. So good stuff there. Also, from the news department, the Minutemen getting a $1 million matching gift donation from Doug and Diana Berthume. Gifts of $25,000 or more being matched. This is a huge deal Again, just the giving to the program has grown significantly over the past 8 years or so, especially under the tutelage of Coach Carve and the work that the front office has done for the Minutemen Club and the Pond Club. And $1 million matching dollar for dollar for commitments of $25,000 or more. So, you've got the new locker room that looks amazing. I know you and I have are in awe every time we go by and see that. And there's the new shooting room that I don't think we've really done a ton of social media stuff on that, but constantly adding through gifts like this. And we certainly thank the Berthume family for such a generous donation, a matching one at that.
Yeah, and would certainly encourage anyone who is interested in donating to reach out to Ryan Boudway with you know, to get more details because it's huge for the program. It's one of the reasons why UMass is able to get the quality of players that they get, retain the quality of players that they retain. And a lot of the times I talk to, UMass alums who are in the AHL or in Europe, and they say, look, the facilities that you have at UMass are as good or oftentimes almost always better than what you would get in the American Hockey League. So it really is a testament to the donors and to the people like the Refumes who are able to, chip in and help keep the program tradition alive. It's great to see.
Yeah, that's the UMass Hockey Excellence Endowment. You can reach Ryan Boudway, RBOUDWAY, at UMA-foundation.org. So we'll keep you updated on that matching gift as we go through. I wanted to touch upon last weekend, where at some point UMass is going to get one of these games that they need to get on the road. They lost up at Maine 3-2. They took care of business against Merrimack, which is always tricky at home 4-2 on Tuesday. How was your trip to Alphond? And I felt like, how was your trip first before we get into the game itself?
It was a great trip. Result of the game aside, it's always fun being up there and seeing some sort of familiar faces. The people who sit in the last row of seats right in front of where we broadcast from, season ticket holders, they haven't changed in 3 years, and so it's nice to have some familiarity there. And look, the trip was nice. It was cold and snowy, and it took a little while to get back down, but had some good food, saw some nice people, and it's always a treat to go up there.
This was a game where, first of all, it stings a little bit that Taylor McCarr transfer to Maine ends up getting the game winner against you. But there was a heck of a save that made the social media rounds, and Coach Carve tipped his hat. He said, "Look, we had a chance to tie this thing up." Um, I didn't get a chance to listen to the call of you guys on that save, but take us through it and what you thought was unfolding at the time.
Yeah, give credit to Alvin Boya because that was a heck of a save, and Don Millis really thought he had tied it. So our vantage point from Alphon, the only downside of being at Alphon Arena is that um, the corners are obscured. It was not a setup that was designed with the broadcast in mind, and there were about 10 bodies between us and the goal. So we thought it might have gone in, we thought it might have been saved, and it wasn't until we saw the replay on the new video board that we actually knew what happened. Because I think some of the main players thought it had gone in. The UMass players weren't celebrating, and that was the big tell. And it wasn't until we got the look that we saw just how good of a save it was. But that was a heck of a play. And yeah, it was as far as the Taylor McCarr transfer goes, like it's tough. Like I'm almost always like happy for guys who find a place. Like and the McCarr family gave a lot to UMass, and
Yeah.
you root for him on every game but one, or every game but the three that he plays this year. And I'm sure it'll be interesting, when Maine comes down to UMass, it's senior night, and he would have been a part of the senior class, and he roomed with Lucas Mercury for a number of years, and they're best friends. So hurts that he got that goal. Did take a penalty in that game as well. UMass didn't play the most disciplined game though. A couple of Greg Carvel called it three unnecessary penalties of the five they took in that game,
Five
and so
overall.
yeah, five overall.
He didn't give up a power play goal.
Right. So I didn't think that UMass deserved to necessarily get points out of that game. I thought they played a fine game, but it wasn't a clean and disciplined game. And I think to beat, Maine's a top five team in the country. To beat a team like that on the road, there's some cleanliness aspects, the details that weren't there, but you still had a chance. And Boya made the save, and it's not a moral victory by any means, but you do get two more cracks at him on your own home ice. So again, it was not the worst weekend in the world.
Yeah, Carve called it, I think, 50 minutes of good hockey, just not quite fully there. But overall, like those are the types of games that you haven't been able to steal one, right? I think you've won a lot of the games you're supposed to win. You haven't been able to take away some of those lucky bounces that make you win one or play a full game, perhaps. He was really impressed with the way that Michael Robel played. He said I think he stopped every puck that he saw was the quote from him, and so he continues to play at a high level. And you're going to need him Friday at an odd puck drop time, 4 o'clock for the matinee crowd down in Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean, thank the commissioner of the Big East for that one because the reason the game's at 4 o'clock is because UConn men's basketball is hosting St. John's at 8 o'clock on national TV at Gamble. So it's rather than playing in Hartford or having the earlier start time for that game, they can't have both events, I guess, at the same time in the same place, which whatever. But 4 o'clock puck drop, it'll be weird, but hey,
Huh.
not complaining.
They can't have them simultaneously or overlapping for
I
some,
don't know if it's they can't
but
versus
they
they don't
chose not
want
to.
to. Because I guess I'm imagining there's a sizable overlap of hockey and basketball season ticket holders, and it is a marquee game on the hoop side as well, obviously with Patino and Hurley and whatnot. But either way, very weird. 4 o'clock puck
So you
drop.
could start,
The first time I've ever
yeah,
seen a weekday matinee.
yeah.
That's like a minor league
You
baseball
know what?
start
It is,
like a
but
Friday,
like
right?
this could be like I always like those where you catch them sleeping sometimes, where it's the energy isn't in the building the way it might normally be, especially if the attention's on another sport that night. So you might be able to kind of walk in there and suck out whatever energy's left with an early goal and make it feel almost like an exhibition.
Well, speaking of early goals, UMass got their fastest goal in program history there a few years ago. Ryan Lautenbach scored in, I think, 14 seconds, but UMass has not had success in this new arena yet. And hopefully tomorrow that'll change.
All right, 14 seconds is the number to beat.
Yeah, the
Tell them
race
that.
is on.
Tell them
But yeah,
that.
I'll
Hey,
be there with Pierre McGuire on the radio side of things, and it should be a lot of fun. And then, what is looking like a sold out game against Boston College
yeah,
next
yeah.
Friday night or next
Yeah,
Saturday night
next
rather.
Saturday night, doubleheader in Amherst, and that should be a big one. So I know tickets are going. They're going to continue to pick up this upcoming week. So if you're interested or on the fence, make sure that you come on down and look. That's going to be a tough game. Right now, it's BC's world. Everybody seems to just be living in it at this point. I think they got the Bean Pot on Monday in the finals, something that they haven't done in what 8 years now. So they're riding high. They got a kid named Leonard, right? That be coming back. That's had great success against UMass. So um, it'll be a big one.
Yeah, and it should be a lot of fun. Enjoy your Valentine's Day on that Friday night if you're not, in Boston at Conti Forum or in Newton at Conti Forum to watch the road game there. Uh, I mean, it's my hometown,
You're
right?
from
Like
there, right? Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
from the, I grew up like 5 minutes from Conti Forum. It doesn't matter. BC. One thing we've learned, by the way, in the last couple of years, months, is don't mess with Boston College Twitter. I don't know if you saw any of this
Oh,
the
they come for
Beanpot
you.
commentary. They are outstanding. They lapped the field of Beanpot Twitter, and it's not even close. So it's always a fun time though, and I think there is, there's a good rivalry, and obviously, they're a team that UMass would like to find success against. So
All
it should
right.
be a lot of fun. Also, triple header on that Saturday. We've got men's and women's
Oh, that's
lacrosse
right. And lacrosse.
and
Yeah,
hockey. So
yeah.
you could really, I mean, I am make a full 12-hour day of it. So it should be a lot of fun, me and you.
We got tons, tons going on. All right, but it starts Friday, 4 o'clock puck drop down at UConn. So, all right, Minutemen looking for their 15th win of the season. Good luck, Nate. We'll talk to you next week, and we appreciate everybody for taking the time. Thanks so much.
Enjoy the snow day.